Hey everyone, and welcome to this GoodCarpetGuide-Com explainer. So, if you're standing there looking at your floors right now, just wondering how on earth your once beautiful plush living room turned into this flat, lifeless runway, well, you are in exactly the right place. Today we're going to absolutely demystify exactly how to save your flooring investment. We'll look at the actual science of what's going on with those fibers, and more importantly, the exact steps you can take to bring them back to life. Okay, let's dive into this. We all know this frustrating reality, right? You rearrange the living room, you move a couch, and bam, there are 4 deep, totally permanent-looking dents just staring back at you. Or maybe you look down the hallway, the exact path your family walks 100 times a day, and there's this visible, completely flat wear lane that literally no amount of vacuuming seems to fix. It can make a whole room feel tired, even if it's perfectly clean. So why does this happen, and what can we actually do about it? Here's what we're covering today. 1. The flat carpet problem. 2. Crushing versus matting. 3. DIY carpet dent removal. 4. Professional repair solutions. And finally, number 5. Preventing future carpet damage. Starting right off with Section 1, the flat carpet problem. Let's look at why floors get so tired. Just listen to this quote we pulled from a homeowner forum. "My carpet is matted after only 2 years. My stairs look like garbage." Wow. That is incredibly relatable, isn't it? You spend thousands of dollars on this beautiful flooring, fully expecting it to last a decade, maybe more. And then within a couple of years, the stairs and hallways just look completely exhausted. If you're dealing with this, your frustration is totally valid. But to actually fix it, we first need to understand the science of why this happens to synthetic fibers in the first place. So let's move to Section 2, crushing versus matting, and see how this builds. You really need to know the difference here. Because it turns out there's a massive difference between the two. Crushing is, it's essentially a viscoelastic response to vertical pressure. Okay, that's just a really fancy way of saying a heavy weight, like a couch leg or even just a heavy footstep, bends the carpet fiber straight downward. It's a temporary structural deformation. But matting? Matting is a whole different beast. It's driven by horizontal shear forces, so friction and abrasion. The fibers aren't just bent over, they are physically entangled and scratched up. So the big takeaway, crushing is usually totally reversible. Matting, on the other hand, is much more severe, and unfortunately, often permanent. Now, what's really interesting about this concept is something called tip bloom. So carpet yarns are manufactured by tightly twisting fibers together, right? Like a rope. But if you look really closely at a matted carpet and you see that the yarn tuft has literally unraveled, fanned out, and splayed outward at the top, that is tip bloom. When this happens, the structural integrity of that yarn has completely failed. Those untwisted fibers actually start acting like Velcro. They cling and interlock with all the neighboring fibers until you're left with this felted, permanent mat that completely resists any kind of grooming. And what causes this severe matting? Well, dirt. But not just any dirt, specifically microscopic silica soils. When these sharp, tiny little particles accumulate deep down within the carpet pile, our daily foot traffic basically grinds them against those synthetic fibers. They literally act like microscopic cutting edges, physically scratching and dulling the material, and scraping away the topical stain-resistant treatments. It creates this permanently worn, faded look that absolutely no amount of cleaning can fix, simply because the physical fiber itself has been destroyed. Okay, let's pivot to some good news. Section 3, DIY carpet dent removal. Let's fix that crushing at home. If you're dealing with deep furniture dents, this right here is your absolute first line of defense, the ice cube slow hydration protocol. You literally just place an ice cube directly on the dent and let it slowly melt. Now, you might be wondering, why ice and not just a cup of water? Well, physics. This trick relies on incredibly slow, controlled moisture absorption to restore the fiber's natural shape. If you were to just pour liquid water directly onto the spot, you risk oversaturating the carpet backing, and that can cause the layers to separate or worse, trigger mold growth. So once the ice melts and the spot is just slightly damp, you gently fluff the fibers back to life with your fingers, maybe a spoon or a soft carpet brush. It works like magic. Now for tougher, really stubborn dents, you can bring out the steam iron trick. You place a damp, white cotton cloth right over the dent, set your iron to a low setting, and just hover it right above the cloth. The steam goes down, penetrates the fibers, and relaxes their memory so they can finally stand up straight again. Once it's steamed, you just fluff the fibers. But please pay incredibly close attention to step 3 here. Never, ever, ever touch the hot iron directly to the carpet. And here is exactly why. Check out this quote from another homeowner trying to DIY their floors. "I melted carpet by ironing, not an improvement." Yikes. So the crucial point is this. Modern residential carpets are mostly made of synthetic thermoplastic fibers, like polyester or nylon, basically plastic. If you expose them to direct high heat, they will instantly surpass their thermal limits. The polymer chains break down, all that structural memory is completely lost, and the fibers will literally melt into a permanent hard plastic puddle on your floor. So be incredibly careful with heat, okay? But what if the damage is beyond a simple ice cube? Let's move to Section 4, Professional Repair Solutions. Here's when to call the experts. To ground this whole explainer in some financial reality, $400. That is the national average cost for a professional carpet repair project right here in the US. Now, depending on the size of the damage and the exact method they use, costs generally range between $150 to $1,200. But let's break down exactly what that money actually buys you. Here is a quick financial comparison to help you figure out whether to try a physical repair or just bite the bullet and invest in a full replacement. So if your carpet is buckling or rippling, usually because the tension broke down, professional re-stretching costs about $100 to $250 a room. Now, if you have permanent matting, say a melted spot from that iron, or maybe your dog chewed a hole in the corner, you need patching. A pro will actually cut out the bad square and seamlessly insert a donor piece, usually taken from the back of a closet. That runs about $100 to $300. Finally, for lifting those really heavily crushed traffic liens and sucking out those abrasive microblades of dirt we talked about, professional hot water extraction runs between $130 to $300. A super quick but totally vital note on professional cleaning: you have to ensure your technician uses high-velocity air movers. Deep cleaning moisture absolutely must be extracted and dried within 4 hours. Scientific analysis shows us that carpets remaining damp for over 8 hours begin to grow molds, like aspergillus. And it gets worse. These molds actually secrete organic acids that literally eat away and break down the latex backing of your carpet. That ruins the floor's structural integrity and causes those massive ripples we just talked about. So, fast drying, completely non-negotiable. All right, let's wrap this up with Section 5, Preventing Future Carpet Damage. Let's protect those floors so we don't have to deal with this again. The true foundation of carpet health actually starts underneath it. If you're putting in new floors, upgrade to a minimum 8-pound pad density. The cushion under your carpet is literally a mechanical shock absorber, and this brilliantly illustrates why it matters. Without a dense pad, the vertical pressure of your footsteps basically crushes the carpet directly against the rock-hard subfloor. Over time, this literally shatters the latex adhesive that holds the fibers in place. Once that backing breaks down, your carpet loses its tension, it gets ripples, and it mats permanently. A solid 8-pound pad absorbs that impact and literally saves your investment. So here is your ultimate GoodCarpetGuide.com maintenance routine. Ready? First, enforce a strict no-shoes policy to keep those abrasive silica microblades completely out of your house. Second, use furniture coasters under heavy legs to distribute weight and stop that vertical crushing dead in its tracks. Third, vacuum high-traffic areas twice weekly, but make sure to cap your vacuum's brush roll speed at 140 RPM. Anything faster, just fraze the fibers. Fourth, get a pro hot water extraction every 12 to 18 months. This satisfies your warranty and gets that deep dirt out. And finally, periodically rearrange your furniture to shift those heavy traffic lanes. So I leave you with this final provocative question. Are you ready to rescue your carpet? Or, looking at the extent of the damage, is it honestly time for a replacement? Take a walk down your hallway right now. Inspect those fibers for tip bloom, maybe grab an ice cube for that couch dent, and apply everything you've learned today. Thanks so much for joining this explainer, and hey, here is to healthier, happier floors.